Well, good morning, folks. Well, we've made it. This is the final of the Angling Trust CRT Boddington Classic, obviously held at Boddington Reservoir. Yeah, so there's been a lot of fish coming out, so no one really knows exactly what's going to happen because they've been coming out all over, so which is good. It's once again, it was one of those strange draws online, done on Facebook, and I've got peg, you see there, peg 87. I think that's permanent peg 87, and to be fair, I can't grumble at that because it's actually been a good peg throughout all of the matches. If it's going to be today with me sat on it or not is another thing. So yeah, I've got Nathan Gooderham sat to me right on 88, and I've got another colleague down there, a couple of pegs down on 84, which is Kevin Foster. Some of you might know. So yeah, so we should have a bit of banter today, which is good. Yeah, so that's me down there. I don't know how well you can sort of see that, but yeah, I've got all my gear here at the minute, so I've just literally got to my peg, so I just got my camera out. So I'm going to get all my gear set up, and then obviously come back to you then and just go over my tackle and my terminal tackle with you today, as well, as long as I've got enough time. Wind's meant to be a bit breezy today, so I apologise if the actual sound quality is a bit iffy, but I'll do my best to try and sort of minimise that if I can. Yes, so we'll go for that. So I'll come back to you in a minute once I'm sort of tackled up. Cheers. Right guys, my peg now, all my tackles sorted out, all my rods nigh on set up anyway, apart from a couple of little finishing touches I need to do, but yeah, it's looking good. There's a few fish, like I say, I'm on peg 87. It's quite a way up. It's not my last qualified. I qualified before that. I was on peg 84, so I'm not a million miles. That was kind of a few pegs down there. That chap bent over there, that's Kevin Foster. So got a guy next to me here, Michael Allen. I don't know Michael at all, but yeah, it's quite tight pegging, as you can see. So yeah, if we get some hippos going sideways, that's going to be fun. And just to my right here, got Nathan Gooderham, who I know very well. So yeah, I'll be having a quid with Nathan today, which would be good. And like I say, it's quite tight there as well. So yeah, obviously I qualified on peg 72, which is, you know, quite a way sort of down there. Over here you've got the dam wall. I think we got 5 pegs over on there by the looks of it. And then all the way over here, you can see because of the light, we got the sailing club boathouse over there. That's the actual boathouse there, which they sort of come off and tend to, mind you, they cruise around the whole lake. And then obviously you've got the rest of the 80s and the 90s and 100s, which go all the way around that corner there. So like I say, I'm on peg 87. So yeah, so I've been sat here for a little while having a look. I've got fish on the pinging line that are just nodding about. If they're going to stay there or not once we come to fishing, we don't know. So yeah, my approach today is going to be get out on that pellet wag, see if I can nick an early one, just keep pinging that line, try and get some on the bomb and pellet, and yeah, and fish some micros in my hybrid feeder, probably 60, 70, 80, 90 metres. If it starts getting tough, I've also got a bomb rod set up as well, a lead rod, sorry, set up for distance fish and sea bag if things get really tight. So apparently there's been quite a few fish coming out over this week, so all indications are it should fish okay throughout the whole lake, but where the winning weight's going to come from, I don't know. So anyway, in regards to rods and reels today, as you probably can see now, the SLRs have disappeared and everything is the Free Spirits High S range. So this is the Free Spirit High S power feeder. This is it's a 420, which is the 14 foot. You can see that there. I've coupled that up with the Daiwa 25 QD distance reel as well, so that gets me some distance if I need it. Next rod along is a High S power feeder special. That's 11 foot, it's a 330 special. That's going to be my bomb rod. You can see that set up with a bomb there, and that's coupled up with the Daiwa 4012 reel. Next rod along is the pellet wag rod, so it's a cart waggler 12 foot S, High S, as you can see, and I've got that coupled up with the Daiwa 4012 as well. And on my box I've got the High S power feeder distance 390, which is basically the 13 foot version. coupled up with the 25 QD distance reel diver. I've just got a feeder on there at the minute because I want to measure up on my sticks, but yeah, that's going to have a method feeder on it, and that's going to have my micros in it. So yeah, that's they're my rods and reels. A lot of people have been giving me feedback, dialing down to sort of like end tackle and stuff like that. I haven't gone into a lot of detail. I apologise for that. Main reason being is this is now final, so I can talk about it. Couldn't talk about it obviously in the qualifiers, just in case you may give something away to some people. You know, you want to keep an edge if you can, but there's really there's nothing sort of special that I do. All my line that I use on the reels is the Guru Pulse. On my distance reels, that's just £5 Pulse, and on my bomb rod and on my pellet wag rod it's Pulse Pro. The Pulse on my distance reels is only £5, believe it or not, and then on my pellet wag it's £10, and on my bomb rod it's £6. The reason for £5 on a distance is because of casting, if you want to cast distance. So on my distance rods I've got shock leaders, and on my bomb rod I've got a shock leader. I actually use the Matrix tapered shock leaders, which goes from £8 up to £12. Obviously the £12 end is at the terminal end, the tackle end, and the thinner end, it joins onto your line. That's my shock leader. Main reason for that is you're casting in and out all the time. There's rocks here and you just need a lot of protection. I don't bother having one on my pellet wag, just don't tend to need it because you're not casting heavy weights obviously, but there is a bit of protection there, so that's the reason why I go up to a £10 Pulse Pro on my pellet wag line. In regards to you know, the tackle that I use on the end, on the feeder side of things, I've got a couple here. They're just the Guru Exchange feeders. I tend to use the smaller ones here this time of year. As you can see, they're the 36 grams. If I want to go distance, then I'll go up to a 50 gram. They're the Exchange ones, and they've got the elastic inside them, and I use the heavy elastic. You see that there, me pulling that out. So I like using them. It just gives you that extra bit of a buffer. If you obviously, when you're playing fish and they're nodding around and they're quite difficult to get up, if that elastic's pulling, it just, to me, it just keeps that hook where it needs to be. Whereas if they're nodding and you haven't got that elastic, I find that the line can go slack for a second, and because they're barbless hooks, that hook can just come out. Sometimes they come out, come in, and come out and come out, and that's a bit of a debate in damaging the fish's mouth with barbless hooks. But if you use the Exchange range, sorry, the X-Safe range, so it's the X-Safe range, I find that just keeps a constant tension on that line, so that hook always stays in there. And I do the same on, it's exactly the same system on the bomb as well. I don't know if you see over here, just pull my bomb over, it's exactly the same system, so it's bouncing up and down, but you can see the elastic coming out there, it's exactly the same. And once again, it just gives me that confidence that the hook itself is going to hopefully hold and stay there if the fish are nodding about. Like I say, they are hybrid method feeders. One thing I didn't say, why do I use a hybrid method feeder rather than a standard method feeder? Right, okay. If it's a really small venue, like a small, you know, little lake, then I might use a standard method feeder. But I've got so much more confidence with a hybrid method feeder. Reason being is they've got this, obviously this bit all around the edge here, you can see, okay, and that just holds the bait in there. And when you're casting distances, you want to make sure that when that gets down to the bottom, that you've actually still got bait in the feeder. And there's been so much underwater footage done now of method feeders where as soon as it hits the water, all the bait's coming off, and I just don't have confidence. That's all it really is, that the bait isn't staying on there when I'm fishing at distance. If I'm just doing a little underarm chuck, or you know, a tiny over, you know, maybe 20 fishing 20 meters or something, then yeah, I don't mind using a standard method feeder. But if anything further than that, then it's always going to be a hybrid method feeder. I can load it in such a way that I force the first bit in there, and I'll make sure that stays in, and then obviously I'll put my wafter in it, and then I'll put a bit over the top. The bit I put over the top, I don't tend to squeeze that in there as hard unless there's a real big toe on. If there's a big toe on and you know it could be moving your feeder along, then I tend to squeeze it a bit harder just to make sure that bait's staying with it, just in case you know that is being moved slightly, which can happen. You can play line out obviously so much, but eventually it'll start moving your feeder. So that's why I use hybrids. Anyway, in regards to hook lengths and things like that, I've got these out on my box. For my bayonets, I actually use the pre-tied, and it's the Guru size 10 12-pound line, so which is 0.25 millimetre, and it's the QM1 hook, which I find really good, and that's what I tend to use them on my method feeder. I don't use them on the pellet wag, and I don't use them on the bomb. What I use on the pellet wag and the bomb are these ones here. It's a slightly different hook. It's a GWP hook, which is it's the QM1s have got like they almost like curl back on themselves, and they got a slight twist in it. The GWP hook is just a conventional kind of like, you know, flat sort of straight hook. If I open the packet up, you might be able to see one or two in there. There you go. So there's nothing special about it, apart from it's actually, and you see it's actually got quite a large gape on it, which I find if you're fishing a pellet behind that on a band, I like to have that slightly bigger gaped hook, just to, you know, as that fish comes in, it makes sure it gets them straight away. So yeah, that's really it, terminal tackle wise. Pellet wag, I just have a different array of different, you know, homemade ones and ones that other people have made, and I've got, you know, obviously shop bought ones. But yeah, I tend to like the ones where they've got the disc on the bottom, so it stops it diving down quite so much, but obviously different weights and so on and so forth. But yeah, hook wise on that, once again I use these, and I don't know if you can see, but these are 15-inch pre-tied. I've actually pre-tied some of my own as well. I've actually got boxes full of hooks, so but I just got them out to show you because they're the hooks I use. So yeah, so when I pre-tie my own, just so you can see here, I've got the Engage range here, £6, £7, £4, and I've actually got a £9 in another drawer as well. So they're the sort of like the hook length lines that I use. But in regards to the length, sorry, with a pellet wag, one of the reasons I use a longer hook length on a pellet wag is because I do it loop to loop where I join it, and I find if you have that loop up a little bit higher, it comes when it hits the water, it takes longer for that to sink down, whereas if you've got that closer to the pellet, because of the weight of the pellet, it'll sink down a bit quicker. And I don't want the pellet falling through the water too fast. If I can slow it down a bit, then I will do. So having that further away from the hook and have that loop-to-loop connection further away from the hook, that'll hold up in that water just a little bit longer than normal, stops that pellet going down. And just that little fraction, it's only a fraction. I mean, quite often as soon as it hits the water, bang, you've got a fish anyway on a pellet wag. But yeah, just that fraction more holding up in the water sometimes can just buy you the bite. That's all they need. So anyway, in regards to bait, nothing special. It's what I normally have. I've got me 11 mils there, I've got me 8 mils. I'm not bothered with any 6 mils today. I've got an array of wafters, as you can see, which I normally have. I've got some tea bags made up, got me me goose, I've got me tub of water, and in here I've got me pellets, me micro pellets already made up with a bit of boilie crushed into them as well. So I just got a lid on them just so they don't dry out, that's all, just to still keep that moisture in them, because the sun was out quite strong a little while ago. Yeah, so that's obviously got the stopwatch as well, gonna need that. Got my donuts, now I've got them to treat myself. Every time I feel like keeping it up, we're limiting, I have to put another one out, then I can have a donut. So either they'll all still be sat there by the end of the day, or I'd have had a good day and they'll all be gone, hopefully, with a bit of luck. So yeah, so that's really me. Gone over all the bits and bobs. Hopefully that's enough information for people. Don't know how much I'm going to be able to film during the match, because it is a final and I want to be concentrating, so apologies if I don't get everything, but I'll try and film as much as I can. I do have an automatic remote control to hit record. Sometimes that's a bit intermittent, sometimes it works, sometimes it don't, and my camera, as you can see on the stands, are going to be too far away for me to touch it. So yeah, so if that's not working, it can be a bit difficult. But if I've got fish feeding, I'm not going to stop, I'm just going to carry on trying to catch them. So Main thing today is obviously to have a bit of fun and a bit of banter with the guys next to me, so it's a tight section. Anyway, right, I'm going to get me my method rod sticked up now, so to 60, 70 and 80, yeah, then just wait for the whistle to go and then we'll start. So I'll come back to you soon, hopefully with a fish on. Well, hour in, not had anything yet. Went out on the pellet wag and I had float went under, struck nothing at all, didn't even feel anything, and I had one actually where I felt it and bumped it, but that was it. Not really having it at all out there. There are fish cruising around, but they're just not really having it. So yeah, I haven't had anything yet. Nathan to my right's had nothing, and a guy next to him's had nothing. The other side of the section, Michael next to me's playing one now. Is out on a method feeder, and then Kevin Foster on the end peg, he's had one as well on the method feeder. But yeah, other than that, that's it. So it's a bit quiet at the minute, so it's still all to go for. So hopefully come back to you with a fish on.
How many is this?
First one.
First one?
Yeah, I bumped a couple, but
yeah,
this first one to actually have it properly. They're just not having it. You never know if you bloody foul looked them or not. That's the problem.
It's the trouble, isn't it, when you're mugging them, but it's not as if they're coming to feed, is it, or anything?
No.
Pressure's proper on you now with two cameras, isn't it, really?
Surfacing just out there, that might be foul look, mightn't it?
It did look a little bit tail first, didn't it? I think they should weigh double if you get them in foul look.
Matey boy had one next door.
Yeah.
Michael, is that his name? Michael, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But quite early on, that took him a while. Nathan had one on as well, but his one come off. Just left a scowl on the hook.
Yeah. Free spirit advocate then.
Yeah. Yeah, converted everything over to free spirits now.
Yeah, but Simon loves you.
But look at this rod here, look.
Yeah,
that's coming right down to here. You just.
They are nice.
In the mouth?
Yeah, I was going to say, that's a sticky mouth thing. Proper one as well.
Yeah. Yeah, bottom lip.
Yeah.
That little perch there, can you see it?
Yeah.
Should scoop that up, that could be the winning fish.
That's 2 ounce, easy.
Yeah, it'll do.
Good match with that one.
Well, it was an hour to go. And I've just had my second fish. It's not fishing well at all. Fortunately, it was a big, and unfortunately, I couldn't film it because it was a proper lump. It's got to be about 20 pounds. But yeah, I got it on a pellet wag. They've just not really been wanting it today. There's a guy on the end of the section here. Not quite sure how many he's got, but he's definitely got 4 or 5. I think that's probably winning the section at the moment. So yeah, got a bit of work to do in this last hour. Okay. Ooh. Yeah, we'll crack on. See if we can get a few more. Oh, bloody hell, lost it. Lost another one. Yeah. Yeah, no, that was leaving it. Don't want that to keep happening. few more. Foul looked. Not quite, I know it. It's not far from it. It's because it was foul looked, it made it worse. Well, that's fish number 4. Lucky with that one. Looks like the hooked it just under its pectoral fin. Might put me in a chance for the section. Certainly not for the win of the match. There's 10 minutes to go. On that, one past through for us, haven't we? Yeah. Smash man. For 24.
If it starts flapping, I'd get it on fast capture.
Yeah. Are you ready?
Yeah, ready when you are.
How many do you have, pal? 4?
4 on lost till, mate, yeah. 4 on lost 4 for me. Yeah.
19,175. Well done, pal. What's your name?
Mark Stainsby.
Mark?
Stainsby.
Stainsby, rightio. Well done, Mark. Thank you, Fozzie, for doing the weighing in. Thank you, Michael, for doing the weighing in.
Alright,
I'll do that, can you do that with me? Yeah.
on the whip.
Well done. Well, a little bit of a consolation. I've took the section, so there was 4 of us with 4 fish, but those couple of hippos that I managed to get in has done the section. So yeah, 24 kilos for me, and that chap had 19. So yeah, took the section quite comfortably, which was good. So righty-ho, I'm going to pack the rest of my gear away, and then one other important thing, which is a most important thing today. See this man down here? He owes me a quid. Nathan, where's me quid? Oh dear. Yeah, it's not fished well up here, but I got me quid. Yes. Right, I'll come back to you a bit later in the car. Got to get me £1. Here he is, here he is, here he is. Let's see it.
£20 you can have a penny.
Oh, look at that, look at that. £1 and a penny. Oh dear, thank you, Nathan. Cheers, pal. Hi guys, on my way home now, as you can see. Yeah, that was a tough day. A lot of runs to that peg normally. You know, I had obviously Nathan on the peg to my right, and he said the same thing, you know, he'd have run to his peg. But the fish they just weren't getting their heads down. It was strange, they were just cruising around. They weren't really interested in taking much off top either, although I had 4 fish and I had all of them on the pellet wag. But yeah, it's just lucky really to just snare one. It's almost like mugging them, to be honest with you. I actually hooked another 5 fish and lost them, but they were off as soon as they were on, most of them. And I had one on a little while, but he got off, so I probably fouled them, to be honest with you, because they just weren't having it properly. But yeah, I won my section, as you know, so I'm really pleased about that, because there wasn't a lot else I could do because the fish just weren't on the deck. So yeah, I was quite pleased. Just the sheer size of fish that I had 2 really big fish. One in particular must have been about 25 pound. It was a real big one. Actually ended up straightening my hook out as I got it into me landing net. My hook come straight out of it and it was all straightened out. So yeah, I had to quickly change that. My last fish I got was very lucky. That was foul hooked, just under the dorsal. So yeah, that took a bit of getting in, but yeah, managed to get that in. And that was my 4th fish. But yeah, there was 3 of us in the section that had 4. Kevin Forster, he had 4 for about 15 kilos, I think. I had 4 for my nearly 25 kilos, and then the guy on the end, Mark, his surname, I think he begins with S. He had 4 fish as well for about 19 kilos. So Nathan next to me had 3. Michael Allen on the other side of me, I think he had 3 as well. So none of us could get any on the deck. It was strange. Nathan got one on the method feeder, but that was a bit of a strange one. He literally cast it out as soon as it hit the water, it went round, so before it even hit the bottom. But it was probably hooked him out. But yeah, I just thought Pellet and Bomb was going to do it. I really honestly thought it was a good peg for Pellet and Bomb. I thought once they got their heads down, that was it. It was just going to be fish after fish. But I had one quick snap on the Bomb and Pellet, and that was it. A couple of little liners, but they just weren't down there. They just weren't getting their heads down feeding the bottom. Yeah, really frustrating day. So it was a matter of just keep you know, keep fishing that pellet wag in the hope that, that it was going to go round. Oh, well, it was going to go under. And yeah, luckily for me it did, but it wasn't enough to win the match anyway, nowhere near it. I think the match was won peg 96 or 97. They were there right from the off apparently. As far as I know, they got them on the method feeder. 160 something odd pound I think. So yeah, that'd be yeah, about 80 kilos, 90 kilos, so yeah, big weight. And I think third in the match come from up there as well. Chap that was on peg 100, I think, he had 12 fish. But yeah, the Dan Wall, I think, had a 30 kilos, and after that it was 14 kilos, so yeah, not a lot there. I think there was another 30 kilos down to my left. He had a couple of big fish. I think he only had 5 fish for 30 kilos, so but yeah, other than that, there wasn't a lot else caught. So yeah, a bit of a tough day really. Don't know what the sailing club done, that's the only area I don't know what that done, so that may turn up something interesting. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video anyway. I enjoyed doing qualifiers and obviously the final, so it's a shame I didn't win it for you, but there we go, so I'm on my section. But more importantly, I took a pound off the Nathan, so well done Nathan. Yeah, anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have done and you haven't subscribed, please hit subscribe if you want to see more of these. And yeah, obviously if you enjoyed it, give it a thumbs up for me. And yeah, the next ones, the next sessions I've got are really is Tamar. I'm going to be doing the festival up there, so yeah, hopefully get a bit of practice in and go and do 5-6 days up there fishing, which will be fantastic. So I'll do a bit of filming when yeah, when I get up there. So anyway, hope you enjoyed it, and I hope to see you in swim soon. See ya.